Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's video, there's another game upon the horizon which is good for the old head and good for the old ticker. However, it is against Motherwell, and if they're half as defensive as they were the last time we played them, that'll be sore on the old eyes. But as always, before we actually go ahead and dive in to today's video, I know it's cheap and I know it's cheeky, but if you didn't mind subscribing to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. It's free, it doesn't cost you a penny, and it just helps us all on our way to hopefully one day reaching 55k. But with YouTube things and all that to one side, let's get in to the actual video then, shall we? And starting off with the old oppositional preview, we face Motherwell again, ladies and gentlemen. So soon after playing them in late December, we're back at it. But don't worry, I'm not going to sit here and read the exact same notes out, because there's things that's happened at this football club, some changes at Motherwell that could drastically change what we come up against on Sunday. Now, as I'm currently recording today's video, Motherwell sitting 10th in the old SPFL table, only 1 point separating them in last place, Ross County. Now, to be fair to Motherwell, they do have 2 games in hand, and I can officially say that now, ladies and gentlemen, because finally the SPFL board has went ahead and made a decision on the forfeited 6 points that it handed to Motherwell, punishing St Mirren and Kemar. Now, we all know they appealed it and it was been kind of waiting in limbo, but we finally have our answer now, which I do find very interesting, because I think we all knew which way the SPFL board was going to go, but with what's happened over the last 7 days with Dubai Loyal, I think the hands were already dealt, because they can't go ahead and punish St Mirren and Kemar this severely for car sharing on the way to training and then allow all that to go on as it did. So no surprise for me, the SPFL board has reversed their previously horrendous decision, because that's what they do, ladies and gentlemen. Horrendous decision after horrendous decision. But the fact that they've now got those 6 points definitely no going to Motherwell. They do have 2 games in hand on Ross County, like we previously mentioned. However, you've got to look at that. They now have to go play St Mirren and Kilmarnock, and there's no guarantees that they'll be able to go there and get 6 points that they previously were handed from the SPFL board. That leaves this very talented Motherwell squad in a real dogfight for relegation. And if you look at that at the start of the season, I don't think many people would have been predicting this sharp of a fall from this side that played so well in the majority of last season. But for whatever reason, ladies and gentlemen, it's just not clicked this season, and it can no longer be called a blip or anything, because we're midway through January now, people, and I think that is why the decision was made by the previous Motherwell manager, Mr Robinson, to actually resign, because he felt he couldn't get the team going again. And I think if you get to where we are now, midway through January, and you still kind of kick your own arses, there is going to be changes that needs to be made, and that's obviously why Robinson left the football club. Now, he wasn't fired, he did resign from these posts, but it does leave a wee interesting little fun fact for you, because he left just shortly after we bet them 3-1 at Ibrox. But it is always important to remember the last action that Robinson made as Motherwell manager versus Rangers was to play a formation that was 5-5. Always knew that laddie was staunch. But all joking in that aside, I'm sure a lot of people know Robinson left the football club, but why is it so important? Why will it drastically change this game of football? Well, not only is there going to be a boost because the new manager's in, because that's kind of what happens, but the biggest thing for me is how Motherwell are actually setting up now, because gone is the 3-5-2. Now again, that's not what they played against us, but for the majority of time this season, that is how they set up. That's completely ripped up and threw away. Now they're setting up in a 4-3-3, and that is what they played in the first game under the temp manager who was in charge in the derby versus Hamilton. Did it work out, I hear you ask? No, they got absolutely spanked rotten 3-0, but the 4-3-3 remained in the next game when Graham Alexander actually took charge away to St Mirren, which we all know is a very difficult place to go. They lined up with it, and Devante Cole, who's back starting games of football for Motherwell, and he's back scoring that goal as well with a very nice finish, and his movement and his finishing ability is always tricky to play against. He was brilliant in that game versus St Mirren, and for the majority of the game you're thinking, right, aye, the manager boost has worked again, because Motherwell deservedly are in the lead and they should be a couple of goals up. But the longer the game went on, I found this the most interesting. The longer the game went on, I think the more nervous that Motherwell actually got, and the more mistakes started to creep into play, because as soon as they couldn't put that game to bed, you all knew what was going to happen, especially when St Mirren's playing. I'm sick of saying it, but St Mirren and late goals are like Ryan 118 and Greeting this season, people. They're just right frickin' there, because St Mirren scored in the 79th minute again via a penalty. And I think given the way the season has gone, that is the knock-on effects that happens when a team isn't doing the business and hasn't been clicking for so long, because they were utterly dominant for the majority of it, but then they equalised and they could, probably should, have went on to lose the game, and that's what happens when things and they go on your way. And that right there for me is a perfect example of what I'm expecting to see in this game. I'm expecting to see a spirited Motherwell side trying to impress the gaffer, trying to keep certain players' jobs, getting stuck into everything, trying to leave a marker down and try and stamp their authority on the game. Is it going to be as defensive as the last time? No, that's no really Graham Alexander's side, but I'm still expecting it to be pretty defensive. His 4-3-3, as I saw in the second half versus St Mirren, he'll get the two wingers to drop back and sort of make it a 4-5-1, so I'm still expecting to see Walt on a fullback, etc, etc. But I think they'll have more of a go in the game. But if we can take a chance to put the ball in the back of net, the knock-on effect of them having a poor season, as it did versus St Mirren, will drastically change the flow of the game and give you more chances to put this game to bed very, very early. Now though, with the old oppositional preview done and dusted, it's time to get over and talk about what matters most, and this is one of the most exciting ones I've had to do now for a very long time, because not only do we get to talk about Rangers things, which gets the smile even wider, but we got some transfer news and we got some very, very exciting injury team news. So let's just jump straight into it. Starting off, however, with something we spoke about earlier on in the week regarding Scott Wright from Aberdeen, which, again, I'm going to be brutally honest, was very, very mixed to say the very least in the comment section. I'd say about a 50-50 split of people being very happy about the deal and other people being very, very down about the deal. But again, there's no rights or wrongs on this channel. It's all about people's opinions. That is why we're here. But I do have some good news and I do have some bad news. Good news first, however, for the people that was excited about the prospect of signing Scott Wright. Steven Gerrard confirmed his interest in the player during this week's press conference and actually went ahead to say it's very close on getting the player to sign on an all pre-contract. And if something can be done to get him in the door right now, whether it is cash or a player going in the other direction, which probably will be Greg Stewart. Again, he didn't say that, but I think that's the kind of logical move for that one, that they're also looking to try and get Scott Wright in for this month. The bad news, however, well, that was the bad news for the people that wasn't excited about signing him. Moving away from what looks to be the next signing at this football club to some important injury news, and because I just want to get to this, I just want to talk about it, because finally we got a positive update regarding Ryan frickin' Jack, and I've waited so long to actually say this, but he's had a full week of training, he's came through and he's fine, and a decision will be made ahead of the game versus Motherwell. And for me, I see a lot of people tweeting saying, oh, we need to go ahead and buy a new centre midfielder, we need to shore that up. Now that we've got Ryan Jack back after, I don't know, a couple months, maybe even 3 months, it just seems like it's been so damn long. He is pretty much a new signing, and what a consistent and good signing this is going to be. And he adds more depth to our squad and that as well. Do I think he's going to start tomorrow? Probably no, ladies and gentlemen. I think we may see him come off the bench maybe to shore things up when we're winning 1 or 2-0 up. Fingers crossed that means the case. Kind of doing the Zungo role. I think that is maybe the natural progression to get him back in line to start versus Ross County. More good news to follow is the fact that Kemar Roofe will be back to full training at midway point next week, which is kind of in with the timetable that we had for him coming back for Easter Road. So that's a positive, that nothing like his relapse or it's a bit more severe than it first originally looked like. He will be back amongst training next week and hopefully will be involved in the game versus Hibs. Scotty Arfield is progressing very, very well when he stepped up his rehab, but again, he's still going to be out for about 4 to 5 weeks, so that one's not as exciting because, again, we're not getting him back soon, but the fact that he's progressing well is obviously a plus. And that kind of injury update kind of leads us perfectly to Big Katic, who's edging closer as the days go by, which is going to be absolutely massive for us because it just shores up that centre-back spot, touch wood, in case anything goes wrong. He's getting closer, lads. Very, very close now, which is brilliant. The only negative news to actually bring you regarding injury team news is the fact that George Edmondson is going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks as he recovers from his hernia operation. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That is the old transfer conversation. That is the Rangers press conference, and that is the latest Rangers team news. Now it's time to take all that information, throw it in the bag alongside the oppositional preview, and for us now to set it out on the table to try and predict. And whilst you're hopefully getting your thought and opinion out there, I'll give you mine very, very briefly. I'm expecting a tough nut this one. I think it's just going to be one of those ugly games of football that I do think, again, we're going to need a couple of moments of magic, but we've got magic now in this team. So I'm actually going to go with Rangers 2, Motherwell 0. The scoreline it probably should have been versus Aberdeen if we weren't so slack defensively, but I just think once we get that goal, we'll kill the game off with 2, and that'll be it, and we'll see the game out for there. My goal scorers are going to be none other than Alfredo Morelos. I think it is, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is his time to continue to shine. And my other goal scorer is going to be none other than your man Ryan frickin' Kent. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's us reached the end of today's video. Hopefully you did enjoy it enough to be hitting a like button. And again, if you are new around here, please consider subscribing to the channel. But before I wrap up today's video, I just want to say a massive thank you from me to thee for taking time out of your day to sit here and talk about Rangers things with me. I'll see you at the Mora after the game of football. Take care of yourselves. All the best and bye-bye.